You're watching South Asia Newsland, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 10th of July. PM Modi returns to India after five-nation tour, participation at 17th BRICS Summit. Pakistan seeks YouTube ban on opposition and journalist channels. And Trump announces tariffs on imports from Sri Lanka. And now for all the details. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi returned to India on Thursday after concluding his week-long five-nation tour, marking several historic firsts and reaffirming India's commitment to deeper global partnerships, particularly with the Global South. We have a report.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in New Delhi on Thursday after concluding a productive five-nation tour, which marked several historic firsts and reaffirming India's commitment to deeper global partnerships. PM Modi first landed in Ghana on the 2nd of July, marking the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to the West African nation in almost 30 years. He held bilateral talks with Ghana's President, John Mahama, and reviewed the strong partnership between the two nations, along with discussing further avenues in various sectors of development. The two leaders agreed to elevate bilateral ties to a comprehensive partnership. Then, the PM's next stop was Trinidad and Tobago, which was the first visit to the Caribbean nation at the PM level since 1999. The highlight of the visit was PM Modi announcing that India will issue OCI Overseas Citizenship of India cards up to the sixth generation of the Indian diaspora of Trinidad and Tobago. PM Modi then visited Argentina on July 4th, where he held bilateral discussions with President Javier Milei to review ongoing cooperation and discuss ways to further enhance the India-Argentina partnership. The fourth stop of the tour was Brazil, where the Prime Minister attended the 17th BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro and called for enhanced multilateralism, deeper economic ties, and responsible AI governance as he attended the BRICS Summit in Brazil. Brazilian President Lula da Silva also conferred PM Modi with Brazil's highest civilian honor, the Grand Collar of the National Order of the Southern Cross. In the final leg of his tour, PM visited Namibia, where he addressed the Namibian Parliament and received a standing ovation from the members. During his address, Prime Minister Modi stated that the ties between India and Africa are based on respect, equality, and mutual benefit. He stated that India seeks to cooperate with Africa and not to compete, and expressed India's support for Africa's Agenda 2063, its industrialization and readiness to expand cooperation in defense and security.
India's space regulator on Wednesday granted Starlink a license to launch commercial operations in the country, clearing the only remaining regulatory hurdle for the satellite provider to enter the market. The Elon Musk-led firm has been waiting since 2022 for licenses to operate commercially in India. Last month, it received a key license from India's Telecom Ministry to launch, but has been waiting for a go-ahead from India's space regulator. Starlink's license is valid for 5 years, the country's space regulator, Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Centre, said. Starlink would be the third company to receive India's nod to enter the space, with India previously approving applications by Eutelsat, Open's New Tab, OneWeb and Reliance Jio to provide services in the country. Starlink will now need to secure spectrum from the government, set up ground infrastructure and also demonstrate through testing and trials that it meets the security rules it has signed up for. The satellite internet service provider has joined hand with Indian telecom giants Airtel and Jio for providing the services in India. Ironically, before the collaboration, Musk and billionaire Mukesh Ambani's Jio clashed for months over how India should grant spectrum for satellite services. India's government sided with Musk that spectrum should be assigned, not auctioned. Alphabet-owned YouTube has told more than 24 critics of Pakistani government that it is considering blocking their channels after a local court sought to ban them for being anti-state. As per a Reuters report, the channels that could be blocked in Pakistan due to a court order includes that of the main opposition party, of its leader, jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan, and journalists critical of the government. The Judicial Magistrate Court in Islamabad said it was seeking the ban after the National Cybercrime Investigation Agency criticized the channels in a June 2nd report for sharing highly intimidating, provocative, and derogatory contents against state institutions and officials of the state of Pakistan. YouTube told 27 content creators that their channels could be taken down if they did not comply with the court orders. If you fail to do so as per our local law obligations, we may comply with the request without further notice, the popular video sharing platform said in emails this week to the channel owners, Reuters reported. Government has said the creators would also face criminal charges. The order is the latest in a series of laws and regulations from Islamabad that have enabled the authorities to crack down on critics and dissidents. It has blocked social media platforms like X, Facebook, and TikTok on several occasions. Digital rights campaigners say that any ban would further undermine free speech in Pakistan, where the authorities are accused of stifling newspapers and television, and social media is seen as one of the few outlets for dissent. Newspaper vendors in POJK are on the brink, struggling with plummeting sales and no government aid. Once key players during public rallies, they now feel completely abandoned. We have a report.
Newspaper vendors in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir have been struggling to stay afloat due to declining sales and a lack of government support. Many of those who once sold hundreds of copies now barely manage to sell a fraction of that. Vendors feel ignored by the very system that once relied on them during public rallies and protests.
मसलन अरसा कोरोना वायरस जब से शुरू हुआ है उससे पहले अखबार की अहमियत आवाम में बहुत ज़्यादा पाई जाती थी, जिसके बाद आज़ाद कश्मीर में कोरोना जैसी वबा आई है उसके बाद जो अखबार 1000 की वो 300 पे आ गई है, जिसकी वजह से अखबार फरोश मुतासर हुआ है। अखबारी सनत का ज़वाल होने की वजह से अखबार फरोश को जो मसलन आज से साल 2 साल पहले 100 की हज़ारों की तादाद में अखबार फरोश काम कर रहे थे, वो आज गिनती दर्जनों के हिसाब से रह गए हैं।
Despite their role in disseminating information and contributing to public awareness, newspaper sellers in POJK claim they have been consistently overlooked.
और सबसे ख़ास बात ये कि इस शोबे से वाबस्ता मुझे कम से कम 31 साल हो गए, मगर हुकूमत के बेहिस्सी, अखबारी मालकान की बेहिस्सी की वजह से आज दिन तक अखबार फरोशों को एक चार आने की भी जो ना हुकूमत की तरफ से सपोर्ट की गई है और ना मालकान की तरफ से सपोर्ट की गई है। अखबार फरोशों को हमेशा साफ़ी भाई भी जो हमारे हैं उन्होंने तो कोशिशें की हैं, मगर उनकी कोशिशों के बावजूद हमें रीढ़ की हड्डी तो जलसे जुलूसों रैलियों खताबात के दौरान रीढ़ की हड्डी की हैसियत दी जाती है, मगर रीढ़ की हड्डी को आज दिन तक किसी ने तक़वियत नहीं दी है। सिर्फ वो रीढ़ की हड्डी एक जलसे जुलूस में या एक खताब के दौरान किसी प्रोग्राम में या इस तरह के अखबारी सनत का प्रोग्राम होता है उसमें हमें रीढ़ की हड्डी तो कहा जाता है, मगर आज दिन तक रीढ़ की हड्डी को किसी ने सहारा नहीं दिया है।
As newspaper sales continue to decline and support remains absent, many fear that the once thriving network of newspaper vendors in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir may soon disappear entirely.
Sri Lanka's government industry is bracing for a major hit after US President Donald Trump announced a 30% tariff on imports from Colombo, effective 1st of August. The United States is Sri Lanka's largest apparel buyer, accounting for about 40% of exports and $1.9 billion in revenue last year. The industry, which employs 300,000 people, mostly women, is the country's third largest source of foreign exchange. The new levy, revealed in a letter to President Anurakumara Dissanayake on Wednesday, put Sri Lanka at a disadvantage compared to competitors like Vietnam, which faces a 20% tariff. Bangladesh, another key player, was slapped with an even higher 35% tariff, while India's rate is yet to be disclosed. In a news briefing on Thursday, a top finance ministry official said Sri Lanka will continue discussions with US over this move. The tariffs come amid broader global trade tensions, with Trump initially threatening a 44% levy on roughly $3 billion worth of Sri Lankan exports in April. Despite these developments, the IMF last week maintained a positive outlook for Sri Lanka's economy while cautioning that external risk, particularly from global trade policy shifts, remains significant. Following the recent flood in Nepal-China border region, which till now has claimed at least 9 lives and 19 are missing, Nepali lawmakers from both the opposition and ruling parties during the Wednesday's parliamentary session demanded cross-border information sharing mechanism with China. As per the preliminary investigation, no alert was given by the Chinese side regarding Tuesday's flooding. Officials in Nepal were not aware of the flood until the waters reached the border point between Rasuwa and Nuwako districts due to the lack of a real-time data sharing mechanism with China. The cause of the flood has been ascertained due to the permafrost. The flash flood that originated from Tibet's Lehende River has left vehicles covered in debris along with a trail of destruction. The entire sections of the Rasuwa-Gari-Timur area is now disconnected with electricity and communication services disrupted. But the Nepal army and locals are clinging onto the slopes to make a way out. The flood was triggered by intense rainfall and possibly a glacial lake outburst on the Chinese side of the border.
यस क्षेत्रमा राम्रोसँग साइरन र विपदको पूर्व सूचनाको ठीक ढङ्गले व्यवस्थापन गर्न नसक्दा यो प्रकृतिको क्षति भएको भन्ने प्रारम्भिक प्रकारको अनुमान छ। सँगै अहिले चीनसँग सीमा जोडिएका क्षेत्रहरूमा हिमतालहरू उच्च जोखिममा रहेका र ती जुनसुकै पनि बेलामा विस्फोट भएर उच्च प्रकारका दुर्घटनाको सम्भावना रहेको छ। यसतर्फ नेपाल सरकारले चिनिया सरकारसँग गम्भीरतापूर्वक वार्ता संवाद गर्ने, काउन्टर पार्टहरूलाई सक्रिय तुल्याउने, सूचना आदान प्रदानलाई सक्रिय बनाउने र त्यसका माध्यमबाट सम्भावित विपदका बारेमा पूर्व तयारी अवलम्बन गर्न जरुरी छ।
Authorities also stated that several missing may have been swept away or buried in the customs yard. Rescue efforts are ongoing with teams working round the clock to evacuate the stranded. Till Thursday morning, a total of 150 individuals, including 127 foreign nationals, had been evacuated.
त्यसै जानकारी भएन एक्कासी बाढी आउँदाखेरि भूकम्प जस्तै भयो के अनि कोठादेखि अनि हामी निस्केर हेर्दाखेरि खोला खुलै भयो।
And that's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Till then, good night.